Set yourself free. How to release the past and start living fully. Part 1. Awakening the Inner Freedom. Chapter 1. The Weight We Carry Without Knowing. There are moments in life when we look in the mirror and see more than just a reflection. We see the echoes of old stories. Something someone said that still hurts. A failure we never forgave ourselves for. A relationship that ended but left a scar that refuses to fade. And even though time has passed, even though life has moved forward, a part of us remains quietly stuck in a moment that no longer exists. We often don't realize how much we're carrying. We learn to function with emotional weight the same way we adjust to a physical burden, slowly, quietly, without noticing how heavy it has become. Pain settles into the corners of our daily life, in the tightness in our chest, in the quick temper we can't explain, in the fear of trying again, in the inability to trust, in the voice that whispers, "You're still the same person who failed before." But here's the truth that many people never hear. Your past does not need your permission to stay, but it does need your permission to leave. We all have a turning point, a moment when the past becomes too loud to ignore. For some, it comes during a quiet night when the world sleeps and memories rise like waves. For others, it happens in the middle of an ordinary day, during a conversation that unexpectedly triggers an old wound. Or it comes when we notice we are repeating the same patterns again and again, even though we promised ourselves we would change. The first step toward letting go is not forgiveness. It is not acceptance. It is not healing. The first step is awareness. The courage to finally say, "I am carrying something that no longer belongs to me." This single realization is powerful. It is the moment when the fog begins to lift and the truth becomes visible. We start to understand that we are not broken. We are burdened. And burdens can be put down. The invisible chains of the past. People often imagine emotional pain as something dramatic, heartbreak, betrayal, failure. But the past does not always hurt loudly. Sometimes it shows up as subtle patterns that shape our entire life without our permission. Avoiding deep relationships because someone once shattered our trust. Turning opportunities down because we fear failure. Staying busy all the time because silence feels unsafe. Pretending to be strong because vulnerability once cost us something. Overthinking every decision because one mistake made us afraid to choose again. These patterns are not signs of weakness. They are signs of survival, the mind's way of protecting us. But survival is not the same as living. You were not meant to spend your life avoiding pain. You were meant to grow beyond it. Letting go is not about erasing memories. It is about releasing the emotional grip they have on you so that your future does not look like your past. The truth about pain. Pain changes us. It teaches, shapes, and sometimes even strengthens us. But pain was never meant to be a permanent home. It was meant to be a temporary visitor, a messenger. Yet many of us do not know how to let the messenger leave. We keep old wounds alive through replaying memories, creating stories around them, or defining ourselves by them. I'm not good enough. I always get hurt. I can't trust anyone. I will fail again. These stories become identities, and identities become prisons. The moment you question these stories, the walls begin to crack, and you realize that the person you are today is not the same person who experienced those painful moments. You have grown, learned, survived, endured. You have wisdom now. You have resilience now. You have strength now.
If you met your past self, you would not recognize them entirely, so why let them control your future? The past is not your destiny. It is your history, nothing more. A new beginning starts with an ending. Every transformation begins with a decision. The decision that you are done carrying what is not yours anymore. This chapter is not about fixing anything. You don't need fixing. It is about waking up to a powerful truth. You are allowed to put the past down. You are allowed to walk forward. You are allowed to start again. Not when you feel ready. Not when everything makes sense. Not when everyone agrees. Not when life seems perfect. You can start again today simply because you choose to. That choice, that single conscious choice, is the first moment of freedom. Chapter 2. Understanding the past. What holds you and why? Before we talk about letting go, we must understand why the past holds on so tightly. Many people assume that moving on is simply a matter of willpower, that you can choose to forget and magically feel better. But the human mind does not work like that. Emotional memory has roots, layers, and logic. When you understand why something stays with you, you gain the power to release it. Why pain stays longer than joy. If you ask someone to recall a happy moment from last year, they may pause, think, search their memory. If you ask them to recall a painful moment, their answer comes immediately. This is not a flaw, it is biology. The brain is designed to remember danger, hurt, and disappointment because they help us survive. Emotional pain is processed as a threat. That is why your mind replays painful experiences without your permission. Your body reacts as if the past is happening again. Your memory exaggerates certain details. Avoiding similar situations feels safer than facing them. What happened before becomes a warning for what might happen again.
When something painful happens, the mind creates a rule to prevent future harm. If someone betrays you, don't trust too quickly. If you fail publicly, avoid taking risks. If a relationship ends, don't love too deeply. If you were rejected, don't express your real feelings. If you grew up without support, handle everything alone. These rules feel like truth, but they are not truth. They are responses created in moments of fear. And a rule created in fear cannot build a future based on freedom. How emotional trauma locks into the body. The past does not only live in the mind. It lives in the body in subtle ways. Tension in the shoulders, heaviness in the chest, unexplained sadness, shallow breathing, restlessness, difficulty sleeping. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. This is why simply thinking positive does not heal anything. Healing requires more than mental logic. It requires emotional release. Self-blame, the invisible prison. One of the biggest reasons people cannot let go is self-blame. You might tell yourself, "It was my fault. I should have known better. I should have left sooner. I should have tried harder. I should have seen the signs." But self-blame is a lie that keeps you small. You did what you could with the understanding, strength,
and awareness you had at the time. If you had known more, felt stronger, or seen clearly, you would have acted differently. This is not an excuse. It is compassion. And compassion is the key to unlocking the emotional cage you built around yourself. Why we repeat what hurt us. People repeat painful patterns until they learn the lesson behind them. Not because they want the pain, but because familiarity feels safe. A chaotic relationship can feel strangely comfortable if chaos is what you grew up with. A distant partner can feel normal if love was distant in your childhood. Pleasing others can feel necessary if rejection used to hurt you. You cannot let go of something you don't understand. Understanding turns chaos into clarity, and clarity breaks patterns. When you realize the past shaped me, but it does not define me, you gain the freedom to rewrite your story. The turning point, shifting from memory to meaning. The past becomes heavy when we view it only as pain, but the past becomes empowering when we see it as meaning. This does not mean saying, it happened for a reason. It means saying, it happened, and I am becoming someone stronger because of it. You are not erasing the past. You are transforming it. Pain becomes wisdom. Loss becomes understanding. Failure becomes resilience. Heartbreak becomes emotional depth. Mistakes become lessons. Silence becomes clarity. And slowly, the past becomes not a burden, but a guide. Letting go begins with understanding. You cannot force the past to disappear. You cannot pretend it never happened. You cannot skip to the part where everything feels light.
Letting go begins with understanding, truly understanding, where the pain came from, how it shaped you, why it stayed, what it taught you, and why you no longer need it. Once you reach this awareness, the past loses its power. It stops being a prison and becomes a stepping stone. And that is the moment when true change starts to become possible. Part 2. The Art of Letting Go. Chapter 3. The Decision to Release. Choosing freedom over fear. Letting go is not a single moment. It is a decision you make again and again, until the decision becomes a truth, and the truth becomes your new life. Many people believe letting go is something that just happens. They wait for clarity, for time to heal, for emotions to fade naturally. But the truth is more powerful and more challenging. Letting go is not passive. Letting go is an act of courage. You don't wait for freedom. You create freedom. This chapter is not about forgetting what happened. It's not about pretending you don't care anymore. It is about deciding, consciously, deliberately, that your future deserves more attention than your wounds. The fear of letting go. Before we talk about release, we must face the truth. People cling to the past because the past even when painful, feels familiar. Familiarity creates the illusion of safety. Even when the situation was unhealthy, toxic, unfair, or damaging, the mind clings to it because I know this pain. I survived this before. I don't know who I am without this. I'm afraid the future might hurt even more. Letting go feels like stepping into unknown territory, and the unknown triggers fear. But here is the truth you must remember. The unknown is not a threat. It is the birthplace of everything you've ever wanted. The cost of holding on. We rarely ask ourselves the most important question. What is holding on truly costing me? Holding on costs you your peace, your mental energy, your ability to trust, your capacity to love, your sleep, your focus, your happiness, your future. Holding on may feel safer in the moment, but in the long term, it keeps you trapped in an emotional loop. While life moves forward, you remain anchored to a memory, a person, or a version of yourself that no longer exists. If you want a different future, you must release the emotional bonds that keep you stuck in place. The moment you choose yourself. Every powerful transformation has a beginning, and it often sounds like this: I deserve better. The moment you say those words with full sincerity, something inside you shifts. You stop defending the past. You stop trying to fix what is unfixable. You stop rationalizing other people's behavior. You stop blaming yourself for things you couldn't control. You begin to see the difference between what you wanted and what you received. You begin to recognize that your worth is not tied to your history.
Letting go is the moment you finally choose yourself, not the wounded version, but the future version who's waiting to be born. Letting go is not losing. One of the biggest misunderstandings about letting go is the belief that it means losing something, losing a person, losing a dream, losing an identity, losing a memory, losing a part of your heart. But letting go is not losing. It is creating space. Space for new relationships, space for new opportunities, space for new dreams, space for new versions of yourself. When your hands are full of the past, you cannot grasp the future. Release is not loss. Release is renewal. The misconception of closure. People often say, I just need closure. But closure is not something you receive from others. Closure is something you give yourself. You may never hear the apology you deserved. You may never get an explanation. You may never understand why someone behaved the way they did. You may never know what you could have done differently. And waiting for these answers keeps you emotionally trapped. Closure is not about understanding the past. Closure is about accepting that the past will never be different. You don't move on when the story makes sense. You move on when you decide the story is finished. The power of a single decision. If you want a new life, you don't begin with action. You begin with intention. Intention tells your mind what to focus on. Focus determines your thoughts. Thoughts influence your emotions. Emotions shape your new reality. Everything starts from one decision. I am ready to let this go. And even if you are not fully ready, Even if part of you hesitates, even if fear whispers in the background, the decision still counts. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing freedom despite fear. Saying goodbye to what you never truly had. Some of the hardest things to let go are the things that never fully existed. The potential of someone, the version of the relationship you imagined, the dream that never became real, the person you hoped they would be, the future you built in your mind. What hurts most is not what happened, it's what could have happened. But you cannot heal from a fantasy. You can only heal from reality. When you let go, you are not saying the dream was worthless. You are saying that your future deserves dreams that are possible. Letting go is a daily practice. Even after you decide to let go, the past may still try to pull you back. A memory, a song, a place, a familiar scent, a message you never send, the sudden ache of longing. This is normal. Healing is not linear. The past fades slowly, the way a wound closes, cell by cell, layer by layer. Letting go is a daily choice, a gentle practice. When the memory arises, choose to release. When regret surfaces, choose compassion. When longing returns, choose truth. When anger flares, choose understanding. When fear whispers, choose courage. And with each choice, the past loosens its grip. One day you wake up and realize the memory is still there, but the pain is gone. That is the moment you know you are free.
Chapter 4. Rewriting the story. Changing the meaning of what happened. Most people try to change their life by changing their environment or their habits. But true transformation happens much deeper, in the story you tell yourself about what happened to you. Painful events shape us, but not because of the events themselves. They shape us because of the meaning we attach to them. If you want to change your future, you must first change the story your mind repeats. The narratives that control our lives. Every painful memory has two layers. The event, what actually happened, the interpretation, the meaning you created around it. For example, the event, someone walked away. The interpretation, I'm not worthy. The event, you made a mistake. The interpretation, I always fail. The event, someone lied to you. The interpretation, no one can be trusted. The event, you grew up in chaos. The interpretation, I must earn love. The event may last minutes, but the interpretation can last a lifetime. To let go, you must separate the two. You are not the story you inherited. Many of our beliefs about ourselves didn't come from us at all. They came from childhood experiences, from caregivers who were carrying their own wounds, from teachers who didn't understand us, from relationships where we were unseen or unheard, from mistakes we made before we understood life. These external voices become internal narratives. You're too emotional. You're not good enough. You are difficult to love. You are always the problem. But these narratives are learned, not inherent. If they were learned, they can be unlearned. Who you are becoming is more important than who you were told you were. The power of reframing. Reframing doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It means choosing a more empowering interpretation of what happened. For example, instead of, I failed, think, I learned something I needed for my future. Instead of, they abandoned me, think, their absence made space for someone better. Instead of, I wasn't enough, think, I gave what I had and it wasn't aligned. Instead of, I wasted years, think,
Those years taught me what I will never settle for again. Reframing is not delusion. It is choosing a perspective that frees you instead of imprisoning you. How to break a limiting story. To rewrite your story, ask yourself 3 powerful questions. 1. Is this story objectively true? Most emotional stories are exaggerations created during moments of fear or pain. 2. Where did this story come from? Whose voice is it really? A parent? A partner? Your younger self? Someone who was hurting? 3. Does this story help or harm my future? If the story keeps you small, it is not your story, it is your cage. When you question a story, you weaken it. When you replace a story, you transform it. Becoming the author, not the character. For years, you may have been a character in someone else's narrative, reacting to what happened, waiting for others to change, trying to fix what you didn't break. It is now your turn to be the leading role. Embrace your power. Rewrite the ending.
But healing begins the moment you stop being the character and become the author. The author decides the tone of the story, the lessons taken from the past, the direction of the future, the meaning behind the pain, the identity of the hero. And yes, you are the hero. Not because you never fell, but because you always stood back up. Your past self deserves understanding, not judgment. When you look back, it's easy to blame yourself for staying too long, leaving too late, ignoring red flags, trusting too deeply, not knowing better. But your past self was not foolish. Your past self was trying, learning, surviving, hoping, and loving. You can rewrite your story by speaking to your past self with compassion. I forgive you. You did the best you could. And now we move forward. Healing doesn't happen when you punish yourself. Healing happens when you embrace yourself. Turning pain into personal power. Every painful experience carries hidden power. Betrayal teaches discernment. Rejection teaches self-worth. Failure teaches resilience. Loneliness teaches self-connection. Loss teaches depth. Mistakes teach wisdom. Your past does not make you damaged. It makes you equipped. Everything you have been through has prepared you for the life you are meant to build. The story you choose determines the life you live. 2 people can live the exact same event and create 2 very different futures based on the meaning they choose. You have that same power. If you choose a story of regret, you will live cautiously. If you choose a story of victimhood, you will live small. If you choose a story of resilience, you will live boldly. If you choose a story of growth, you will live purposefully. If you choose a story of hope, you will live freely. Letting go becomes easier when you realize that the story is not fixed. It is flexible, changeable, yours to rewrite. And the story you write next can be the one that finally sets you free. Part 3. Healing from Within. Chapter 5. Learning to forgive. Freeing yourself, not the past. Forgiveness
is one of the most misunderstood concepts in emotional healing. Most people resist it because they believe forgiveness means excusing what happened, allowing someone back into their life, pretending the pain didn't matter, accepting disrespect, saying it's okay. But forgiveness is not about releasing them. Forgiveness is about releasing you. It is not an act of approval. It is an act of liberation. You do not forgive because the other person deserves it. You forgive because you deserve peace. Why forgiveness feels impossible. When someone hurts you deeply, a part of you feels the need to hold on, to stay angry, to stay guarded, to stay resentful. This instinct is natural. Anger gives the illusion of power. It feels like protection. If I stay angry, it won't happen again. If I hold on to the pain, I won't forget the lesson. If I refuse to forgive, they don't win. But anger is a shield made of fire, and fire burns the one holding it. Resentment may feel like strength, but it slowly corrodes your inner world. It keeps you emotionally tied to the very person or experience that hurt you. You cannot move on if your heart is still anchored in the storm. Forgiveness is not a shortcut. It is a process. Forgiveness doesn't happen in a single moment. It unfolds, layer by layer, like slowly removing armor that once kept you safe, but now keeps you stuck. You may forgive the person intellectually long before your heart feels ready. Or your heart may want peace while your mind still demands justice. This conflict is normal. Forgiveness is an emotional journey, not a logical decision. It takes time, courage, and compassion, not for the other person, but for yourself. What forgiveness actually means? Forgiveness means releasing the emotional charge of the memory, choosing peace over rumination, accepting that the past cannot be changed, letting go of the desire for revenge or validation, choosing your healing over your history, closing a chapter so your future can open. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, reconciling, trusting again, pretending it didn't matter, denying the harm, keeping the person in your life. Forgiveness is not a gift to the person who hurt you. It is a gift to the person you are becoming. Why forgiving yourself is even harder. Self-forgiveness is often the most painful form of forgiveness. We punish ourselves for ignoring red flags, choosing the wrong person, staying too long, leaving too late, believing lies, hurting others unintentionally, not being strong enough sooner, breaking promises to ourselves. But guilt does not change the past. Shame does not heal wounds. Self-punishment does not create growth. Your past self was doing the best they could with the knowledge, strength, and clarity they had at that moment. If you had been wiser, healthier, or more aware, you would have made different choices. You were not weak. You were human. And humans learn through experience. To forgive yourself is to acknowledge your humanity and to reclaim your freedom. The 3 stages of true forgiveness. Stage 1, recognition. You acknowledge the pain honestly. This hurt me. This affected me. This mattered. Forgiveness cannot exist without truth. Stage 2, release. You let go of the emotional attachment to the wound. You stop carrying the burden that is no longer yours.
Stage 3. Redirection. You redirect your energy towards healing, growth, and the life you want to create, not the past that tried to shape you. Forgiveness is the bridge between your past and your freedom. Forgiveness is strength in disguise. The world often confuses forgiveness with weakness, but forgiveness requires emotional maturity, inner stability, clarity of mind, a willingness to rise above, a heart strong enough to let go. Weakness holds on. Strength releases. And the moment you forgive, the chains fall away. You no longer live as a prisoner of your history. You step into the freedom of your future.
Chapter 6. Healing Your Inner World. Reconnecting with your true self. Letting go is not the final step. Once the past loosens its grip, you must fill the space it leaves behind. Healing is not simply removing pain, it is rebuilding identity. Over time, past experiences shape your beliefs, your behavior, your fears, and your emotional patterns. You lose parts of yourself without noticing. Your confidence, your curiosity, your creativity, your voice, your joy, your softness, your dreams. Healing means returning home to the version of you who existed before the world taught you to doubt yourself. The disconnect within. Many people feel an internal split. The self they show the world, the self who carries fear, the self who remembers, the self who hides, the self who longs for more. This internal conflict creates emotional exhaustion. You are living, but not fully alive. You are functioning, but not thriving. You are present, but not present with yourself. Healing begins when you stop running from your inner world and start listening to it. Your emotions are not your enemy. Society teaches us to suppress emotions. Be strong. Don't cry. Move on. It's not a big deal. Just forget it. But suppressed emotions don't disappear. They transform into anxiety, irritability, numbness, self-doubt, overthinking, or physical tension. Your emotions are not problems to solve. They are messages to understand. Fear says, there is something you need to face. Sadness says, something meaningful was lost. Anger says, a boundary was crossed. Loneliness says, you need connection with yourself or others. Guilt says, there is something you can learn. Your emotions are not flaws. They are signals guiding you back to yourself. Emotional awareness is the first step to healing. Most people relive the same emotional wounds because they react instead of reflect. Reflection transforms pain into understanding. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Where in my body do I feel it? What triggered this emotion? What story am I telling myself about it? Is this story true or inherited? This simple practice turns chaos into clarity. You cannot heal what you refuse to observe. Relearning how to feel safe again. Emotional wounds often create one core belief. The world is not safe, and neither am I. When you carry this belief, you live in hypervigilance, fear of intimacy, fear of failure,
fear of rejection, fear of disappointment, fear of being seen. Healing requires rebuilding the foundation of safety, not outside, but inside. Safety comes from trusting your own judgment, learning to self-soothe, setting boundaries, listening to your intuition, surrounding yourself with supportive people, choosing environments that respect your energy. When you feel safe within yourself, the world no longer feels threatening. Reclaiming your identity after pain. Pain changes the way you see yourself, but healing changes it back, and often into something stronger.
To reconnect with your true self, ask deeper questions. Who was I before this pain? Who am I now? Who do I want to become? What values matter to me? What kind of people support my growth? What parts of myself have I silenced? What dreams have I postponed? These questions reopen doors you may have closed long ago. Your true self is not lost. It is waiting beneath the layers life placed upon you. The power of self-compassion. Many people speak to themselves with a harshness they would never direct at someone they love. Self-criticism becomes a habit. I'm not good enough. I should be over this by now. Why am I like this? What's wrong with me? But here is the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. Something happened to you. And compassion is the medicine that heals the wound, not judgment. Self-compassion means treating yourself with kindness, acknowledging your pain, respecting your emotional pace, understanding that healing is not linear, allowing yourself to be human. You don't grow by punishing yourself. You grow by supporting yourself. The importance of boundaries in healing. Boundaries are emotional walls built not to push people out, but to keep your inner world safe. Healthy boundaries protect your peace, honor your limits, prevent old patterns from repeating, help you identify supportive relationships, teach others how to treat you, reinforce your self-worth. When you set boundaries, you are saying, my well-being matters. This is one of the highest forms of self-love. Healing is rebuilding, not repairing. You are not trying to repair the old version of yourself. You are building a wiser, stronger, more aligned version. Pain broke you open, yes, but what grows in that opening is depth, clarity, purpose, and emotional strength. You were not returning to who you were. You are becoming someone better than you've ever been. Healing is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of the life you were meant to live. Part 4. Choosing a New Life. Chapter 7. Building a Future You're Proud of. There comes a moment in every healing journey where you stop looking backwards, where the past finally feels smaller than the future you're about to build. For many people, this shift doesn't happen suddenly. It unfolds quietly, like the first soft glow of sunrise that hints at the day to come. You begin to notice that your fears have loosened, your regrets have softened, and your sense of direction has sharpened. You're no longer asking, how do I recover from what happened, but instead, what kind of life do I want to create next? This chapter is your invitation to design a future that aligns with who you are becoming, not who you used to be, not who others wanted you to be, and not who fear pushed you to become. Building a life you're proud of is not about perfection. It's about intention, honesty, courage, and small actions repeated until they change the shape of your world.
Below are 8 powerful principles that form the foundation of a life built on clarity, meaning, and self-respect.
1. Start with your values, not your fears. Most people design their lives based on fear. Fear of being alone, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of disappointing others. They choose jobs that feel safe, relationships that feel familiar, routines that feel predictable. But a fear-shaped life will always feel too small for the person you're capable of becoming. To build a future that inspires you, start with your values, those core principles that feel true even in your quietest moments. Ask yourself, what do I truly care about? What kind of person do I want to become? What qualities do I want my life to reflect? Common values include honesty, growth, freedom, contribution, compassion, curiosity, service, creativity, and excellence. Choose 3 to 5 that resonate deeply. Let these values become your compass. When in doubt, walk toward what aligns with them and away from anything that contradicts them. A life built from values is a life built on truth. 2. Define success in your own words. At some point, society convinced us that success means money, status, achievements, or having a certain lifestyle. And while these things can bring comfort or joy, they're hollow if they don't reflect what you truly want. Your definition of success might be waking up with peace, having meaningful friendships, doing work that aligns with your purpose, being healthy in mind and body, living simply and joyfully, having time for the people and passions you love, creating, exploring, contributing, expressing. Success is personal. It's not a universal formula. It is something you decide. When you write your own definition of success, you stop trying to win in someone else's game and start building a life where you can thrive. 3. Upgrade your environment. You can't build a new life in the same environment that broke the old one. Your surroundings shape your identity more than you realize. They influence your discipline, your mindset, your confidence, your habits, and even your self-image. To build a future you're proud of, redesign your space. Make it clean, inspiring, and reflective of your values. Redesign your digital environment. Unfollow negativity, organize your tools, simplify your feeds. Redesign your social environment. Spend less time with people who drain you and more time with those who energize and support you. A powerful rule to remember: you rise to the level of the environments you choose. 4. Build identity-aligned habits. Your habits shape your future, but more importantly, they shape your identity. When you consistently act like the person you want to become, you slowly become that person. For example, if you read daily, you become someone who values knowledge. If you exercise regularly, you become someone who respects your body. If you speak honestly, you become someone with integrity. If you finish what you start, you become someone who trusts yourself. The trick is not to build habits that impress others. It's to build habits that align with the identity you intentionally choose. Start small. Start simple. Start today. Momentum grows from consistency, not intensity. 5. Create a vision you're excited about. A compelling vision is not a fantasy, it's a direction. It's a lighthouse guiding your decisions, energy, and mindset. When your vision is clear, distractions lose their power. Old habits fall away naturally. Fear becomes manageable. Your confidence grows. Your purpose becomes stronger. Write down your vision for the next year in vivid detail. Not just what you want to achieve, but how you want to feel, how you want to show up, and how you want your life to look. A future imagined clearly is a future that becomes possible. 6.
Learn to make peace with uncertainty. Moving forward will always involve unknowns. You can't control everything. You can't predict the outcome of every choice. But uncertainty isn't the enemy. It's the doorway to growth. Everything meaningful requires stepping into the unknown, starting a business, leaving a toxic relationship, healing from trauma, moving to a new place, pursuing a passion, changing careers, choosing yourself. You don't need absolute clarity to move. You just need enough courage to take the next step. 7. Build resilience through self-compassion. Strength is not built through harshness or self-criticism. It's built through compassion, patience, and forgiveness. When you inevitably fall, fail, or feel lost, treat yourself the same kindness you'd give someone you love. Self-compassion is not weakness, it's resilience. It allows you to recover faster, grow deeper, and continue your journey without shame. Healing is not linear. Progress is not perfect, and you don't need to have it all together to build a life you're proud of. You just need to stay committed. 8. Choose to rise every day. The life you want is built through small choices repeated consistently. Every morning you have a chance to choose growth over comfort, honesty over avoidance, courage over fear, healing over resentment, action over excuses. Your future is not built in a single moment. It is built in thousands of tiny, invisible decisions that slowly shape your reality. And every day, even on the hard ones, you have the power to choose again.
Chapter 8. Living Fully in the Present. If Chapter 7 is about building your future, this chapter is about inhabiting your present. Many people spend their entire lives stuck between two places, the past that hurts them and the future they're afraid to pursue. They forget that life, the real experience of living, happens only right now. The present moment is where you feel, breathe, act, love, connect, work, dream, and express. It's the only place where transformation can actually happen. You can't rewrite yesterday. You can't fast forward into tomorrow. All you can do is live this moment fully and consciously. Below are 8 essential practices for living fully in the present, no matter where you've been or where you're going. 1. Practice mindful awareness. Living in the present starts with noticing. Awareness is the foundation of clarity and peace. It means paying attention to what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how your body is reacting. Try this simple practice. Pause for 1 minute. Observe your breathing. Notice what's around you, sounds, colors, textures. Notice your thoughts without judging them. Notice your emotions without resisting them. The goal is not to empty your mind. The goal is to become conscious of where your attention is and gently bring it back. Awareness is freedom. When you notice your thoughts, you stop being controlled by them. 2. Release the illusion of control. One of the greatest sources of human suffering is the belief that we must control everything: people, outcomes, circumstances, timing, emotions, even the future. But life is not something you control, it's something you participate in. Freedom comes from understanding what you can control: your actions, your attitude, your effort, your values, your boundaries, and releasing what you cannot: other people's choices, the past, timing, external results, uncertainty.
When you stop trying to force life to match your expectations, you create space for life to surprise you in beautiful ways. 3. Slow down to experience more. In a world that moves quickly, slowing down can feel like rebellion. But speed is the enemy of depth. When you rush, you miss the details that make life meaningful. The taste of food, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of a friend, the sound of your breath, the beauty of silence. Slowing down doesn't mean doing less. It means being more present while you do it. Try eating slowly, walking without your phone, breathing before responding, taking short moments of stillness, focusing on one task at a time. Life becomes richer when you stop hurrying through it. 4. Let go of mental noise. Your mind has a habit of creating stories, expectations, judgments, and assumptions that pull you out of the present moment. Living fully requires clearing out the noise, the worries about what might happen, the replaying of events you can't change, the comparisons that drain your joy, the inner critic that never stops talking, the imagined scenarios that create anxiety. When you notice these thoughts, don't fight them. Simply label them. Oh, that's fear. Oh, that's uncertainty. Oh, that's the past trying to pull me in. And then redirect your attention. You don't need to fix the thought. You just need to release it.
5. Cultivate gratitude for the small things. Gratitude is the anchor of the present moment. It grounds you. It heals you. It reminds you that life is happening right now, and there is beauty even in the simplest details. Practice noticing the softness of your pillow, the taste of your morning tea, the comfort of a clean room, the kindness of a stranger, the sound of rain, the strength in your body, the progress you've already made. Gratitude multiplies your joy. What you appreciate expands. 6. Be fully present with people. One of the greatest gifts you can give someone, and yourself, is presence. When you truly listen, without judgment or distraction, you create connection. When you show up honestly, without masks, you create trust. When you share moments deeply, you create memories that last. Put your phone away during conversations. Look into people's eyes. Ask real questions. Listen with curiosity instead of waiting for your turn to speak. The quality of your presence determines the quality of your relationships. 5. Allow yourself to feel everything. Living fully doesn't mean being happy all the time. It means being alive to your full range of emotions. Let yourself feel joy without guilt. Feel sadness without shame. Feel anger without fear. Feel excitement without doubt. Feel love without hesitation. Emotions are not weaknesses. They are signals. They guide you. They protect you. They teach you. They make you human. When you allow emotions to flow through you instead of suppressing them, you create space for healing and growth. 6. Make the present your home, not a waiting room. Most people wait to live. I'll be happy when I'm successful. I'll start enjoying life when I move. I'll rest when things calm down. I'll love myself when I improve. But life doesn't take place in the future. It's happening now. This moment, imperfect, messy, ordinary, beautiful, is your real life.
Don't wait for the right time to live fully. Don't wait for the perfect moment to choose joy. Don't wait for all the answers to begin expressing who you truly are. The present moment is not a temporary stop on the way to a better future. It is your life. The final message of the book. These 4 parts, releasing, healing, rebuilding, and living, come together to form a complete transformation. They show you that the past does not own you, pain does not define you, fear does not limit you, and your future is shaped not by what happened to you, but what you choose next. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are beginning. You are not trapped. You are free. And your freedom starts right now.
If this video inspired you or helped you learn something new, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Motivation to Study English for 30 minutes every day. Your support is the energy that keeps us creating better and more meaningful videos every single day.